My name is Jonathan Parks, and welcome to Jonathan's Nature Crafts. After you all saw the videos of how that I carved out the Cosmic Santas and the Patriotic Uncle Sam Santas, it just so happened that I kind of did a few live streams where I kind of talked to people while I painted them, and or at least while I painted the first of each. There might be a series in the future where I will demonstrate how I do it with the second of each of those Santas, but it just so happened that there was one step that would be fairly simple that I decided to kind of make all the recordings of it in one day and put them together, which is the video that this introduces. So that is one of the things I want to share for the moment, is how I paint the solar system on the coat of the Cosmic Santa. As of this moment that we record, we're not sure yet whether this is going to end up being a whole series or just all in one video, but we're going to kind of demonstrate how we paint the coat on Cosmic Santa. And I will say that even as far as the original one in the book goes, there were just nothing but little shooting stars and planets and things like that on it. But on my own version of it, I decided to paint the whole solar system on his coat, and I've saved the pictures because I've sold the one that is in the picture, but kind of keep pictures around so I can refer back to them on how I did the original one. And so, the solar system is going to be painted all around the coat here. And one thing I'd like to mention that I start with is that I paint the sun up here around the collar, and that is just one thing we're going to do with the yellow here. And so we're going to see how this goes, and you may even note that for the time that I do this video, I have gotten new brushes here, some new paint brushes, and just kind of the way that we work about them, just kind of get things in a little good place. And I say just kind of like paint along here, we kind of get the sun painted around the color and all the good things that come straight right out of that. So I say that sometimes the yellow may not come out good against the purple, but we know that it's going to be something that might even fade along the way, and never know exactly how it's going to do. But I say we're just kind of getting that little spot in place, and maybe try to paint the sun a little more deeper down into the coat to try to get it into its own good little place, and try to make it stretch out a little bit more to come below the little place here where you see just how the yellow line is making its way. Well, I say that while this yellow dries, we can kind of get a little brown out to do Jupiter. And I will tell you one thing. I know that these days Pluto is no longer considered a planet, but I'm from the old school, so I still consider it a planet. It always was back in my days, so that is the reason why I still consider there to be 9 planets, and I still consider Jupiter to be in the middle of the solar system, in the middle of the planets. So that is the reason why I paint Jupiter on the very front of the coat like this, and use a little brown paint to kind of put in the little spot here. And maybe when this has a little time to dry, there's going to be chances to paint the other planets in. And there were little strange things, like questions I had about planets as a kid when I kind of, studied them with this little toy, little computer headset thing that I had called a Voyager. And I used to kind of see just all the different little features on a planet, and used to kind of get a feeling that other planets had countries. But my little answer was that other planets didn't have countries because people didn't live on them. Now, while I was a little bit in between clips, I kind of added another little extra layer of yellow to the sun. And there's probably going to come a time when we're going to kind of try to put a little more work into this, use a little orange to make the rays. But one thing you'll kind of see that this little cosmic Santa gets is a crescent-shaped moon and some stars up on the top of his hat, in the front of the head, that is. So we can kind of just get something out here, and I say just kind of move little things along to where you know kind of get some white in place, and just like try to get where we get the crescent shaped moon to come in its spot. Don't know how this is just really supposed to work when we get down to a fine little artistic piece we work with, but I say sometimes or another that there's just something we do just to kind of make this have a little special type of effect to us. So maybe with this in mind, crescent shaped moon is just one of the things that makes it kind of look as if it's like a night sky. And just what we have here, I could say that this is just one of the things we get here. Maybe I'll kind of put another little star up in this little corner as well, and that is on one side of the little moon. And we kind of got to get little stars into the other side of the moon as well, and get them in a good little freaking old fashioned spot for what we got of a nice little Santa figure, cosmic that is, and seeing how he can almost represent outer space. So while I'm kind of putting things aside here, I'll be looking for some orange paint that we can use to make the rays of the sun. Y'all may even come to see there's not much option we have here as far as an orange paint, but I kind of got this little slick glow in the dark orange fabric paint, and sometimes I use this on wood because it can be similar to acrylic in ways. But this is just something that I see from that old picture was what I used for the rays of the sun last time, and you can kind of see how I just made a little ray of the sun just like that, and kind of got one more, make it in little triangles to go around the yellow circle, and just kind of like see how this is just maybe a thing that's kind of making a little scene here. And I mean, I say that we kind of got to get things in line and in order for what we have yet to come, and see how this little orange is kind of coming in, making its own way, you see. And I mean, I say with this little moment here, we got these rays all around, and the rays will dry out as a fine orange. Came back around this time to demonstrate some ways we'll be painting these planets. You can see these rays on the sun are kind of drying out a bit, and I mean, as far as what we kind of see here, it's like Mars is on this side and Saturn is on this side. So kind of wanted to make them out where you can kind of see the planets in order, and might even just kind of like see with this little brush we got here that we might kind of like put a little place in for Mars. And I tell you that with the order the planets come in, it's a good thing to put Mars on this side of Jupiter, and use a little burnt orange to make Mars, and kind of just make it so it has like a good little small size. And it might kind of overlap with Jupiter a little bit, but that'll just be okay, because I'll tell you that Earth will be painted beside that. And there's probably going to be certain types of colors we're going to use to make the Earth as well. And might even just say that as we're taking on with that step, there's another little one we kind of need to just try to take on here as well, and kind of just get it where we can kind of get Saturn on the other side. And I decided to use a little pink to paint Saturn, and we're going to come back and use some yellow to make its rings. But here is where I decide that Saturn is going to be on this side of Jupiter. So we make a little round ball for Saturn, and some of these planets are kind of just balls of gas, and that's kind of all they are. And probably from what we see, not anything a person could really be able to stand on. I don't know how it is knowing that nobody's traveled to these planets, but it could just as well be that maybe, satellites might have just been able to go through these planets and see what's inside them. So that's probably how people just kind of like find these things out. It's just like this, and we'll come back and you put in a little bit of a red for that little place, and or a little yellow for the rings. And I'd say that, since we have some colors right here from which to make the earth, I'd say that, you know, for this, I mean, we kind of use the blue to make a big ball of water for earth, and the green to kind of make the land. So we might kind of come with this here and just kind of like just see how it's going to be a little bit bigger than Mars, but not as big as Jupiter, and just kind of see fancy little ways we're measuring out the little solar place where we're just kind of like putting little lines and places to know that this is just kind of a way that we're managing our own little private spaces in life. So I know sometimes that it might even be a little trouble now and then to wait for one little planet or another to dry before you put on another, but we just kind of got the Earth in place, and there's just one or two things we're going to do, come back and put a little green on that. And I'd say that there's probably just some things we'll kind of do for making a little Mercury and Venus out of what we have. And you know, it might even turn out that Mercury could kind of come out about the same color as Mars. So we don't know how it is, but we know it's very hot on Mercury because it's so close to the sun that you'd probably melt if you got near it. So sometimes I tell y'all there's so much to learn about space and interesting little things with it. Might even say when we get down to painting it, I kind of see another color we could use, and this will kind of be able to stand out from this other red, but here's kind of like a crimson red we might be able to use, so that'll be good as well. And we'll kind of take some other steps as soon as those planets dry. At this moment, decided things have dried enough that I could kind of put on another planet. And we're going to, this time around, put right here the planet that comes after Saturn. And not going to say its name because there just gets to be too much punness and too much silliness over its name. So, oh, the puns people make, I don't find them funny. So we've kind of got to put the planet right in here in its very own little spot just to kind of see how it makes its way. And we kind of use a little special type of green to make it, and it's a very bright green compared to some others. The name of the paint on the container doesn't tell us exactly what type of green it is, but I say I use that to make that little planet. And for little things to do while I am at this little spot, I could come back and just say a little thing or two to come this way where, you know, we could just come around and maybe just put a little extra layer of pink on Saturn, because sometimes some of these colors are so light they might require an extra layer or coat to kind of get in place. So finally I'd say we'll put that on for now. And as of how this video goes, you know, there's more to share over time, and thankfully we got new brushes, so they're gonna really take care of what we need. Well, I'll tell y'all that for all these little planets we just kind of got to make here, I've probably got different kinds of colors around to make them from. And you know, I'd say that there's probably a color or two that could be around here somewhere. And maybe since this is kind of a different shade of green than what we've been using, there's a couple of things I could see we could use it for. We could use it to paint the little land on the earth, and maybe even to paint Venus with. So I'd say probably try to figure out what the best green for each is, but you know, could kind of just get a little something here where get a little thing or two in mind, and just finally I could say that with what it is here, there's a little place where we could paint something on the earth, and maybe just see how this land is going to do. Can't make it look exactly like anything real on the earth, but we can always just kind of come a little close with whatever we have to have, and just kind of get little marks put in where we just make anything that looks like the earth's own land. So just put these little green lines in with the blue, and just try to see whatever the heck shall be made of a little caricature that comes its own way, and to kind of like see what we do with just what we have to make things out a little bit better here. So I've just got the freaking land kind of put into place with this, where we make the little green just shine its own way. And so that's what you have here, a little green in place. And for a little knowledge, I'd say that I kind of see that there was apparently some kind of another color, or a turquoise, that was originally used for Venus on the other original Santa, so we might kind of get a little something like that out, and think I've got that right here. And I could just kind of put a little bit of a something into the dadgum water here to kind of get the rinse out of the brush, and just kind of get some little freaking things done where we're just, ouch, measuring the heck up out of things. So I could say we kind of got a little orange out there, and the rays probably kind of got a little messed up by the finger touch, but I tell you, even this turquoise paint, it's old. It's probably going to have to be thrown out soon, because it's been around for years and it hasn't been used. Probably about 10 years, I'm thinking, for the amount of time it's been since I bought it for its original purpose. So I say, with this little thing in mind, we've got the planet Venus right here, and that's just what we're showing right now. I might also just see what I have here as far as just little other colors may be concerned, and since we got a little thin brush, it will be quite simple to make the rings of Saturn here. And maybe I say get a kind of gold yellow that will kind of stick out a little bit more, and maybe be able to see a little thing or two, just kind of make a little ways in. But I know sometimes that this is just the place where we get the yellow right in its own spot, and just kind of get it in what shall be kind of a good little place for it to be. Maybe just see how this kind of gold yellow makes out Saturn's rings just like that, in a way that kind of contrasts it from the pink. There may have been little debates as to what we'll use to paint Neptune on, and there's different kinds of oranges and peaches we can use. And what I've kind of got here is kind of like a deep, is kind of like a, see what it is, summer peach. And this is a very kind of dark kind of peach that is close to orange. So I think this looks like, from the picture, what I used the last time that I made Neptune, and probably the color we can use right here. So just kind of get a little something put in here where we get the colors made right in, kind of get the little circle made where Neptune has to be. Probably I'd say we kind of went a little bit down to the back of the jacket a little bit here, but that'll just be okay for what we do. And I'd say after we kind of let Venus and Neptune and the land on Earth kind of dry a little bit, there might even come a time when we can kind of get back and just do a little bit more, maybe painting on Mercury and Pluto. So like I said in another part of this video, Pluto's no longer considered a planet these days, but I'm from the old school, so I still consider it a planet and still like to use it when I make a solar system. Now, as we come down to things a little bit more, we might look up a color or two from which to kind of paint a couple more planets here. And I'd say from what we have here, there's just some that we've done and some we got to put a little extra into. And there is Mercury that is on this side, and there's Pluto left on this side. So I could say when we're kind of coming down to these figures, probably going to be a little thing or two we're just going to kind of freaking add right in. So I'd say, for heck, I'll tell you, we got a little crimson red here, and I mean, Mercury is a hot planet, so we can kind of just get a little something right in place where we can just put the planet Mercury in its spot, and just like get the little circle put right into place. And it might even be a little bit of a small planet, but I say, even if it's a little bit hard to envision, that can be okay, because we kind of got Mercury right here on the end where we got the little crimson, and gotta just put that right in the little place where we kind of have to see how this is going to work out. And for other little tiny kind of steps we got to take, it's just time to kind of just get down and just see how one little last planet's going to be coming into place. And, you know, last year we probably had to use for Pluto whatever we had. And it came down to the point where it was probably just little white fabric paint that didn't show too well. But Pluto is like a big snowball. So it would be too cold to live there. So kind of just get a little place in here where we put that snowball around and just make what was considered in its own time the tiniest planet. It's not considered a planet anymore, but like I said twice already, I'm from the old school, so I still consider it a planet because it was considered one in my days. So that's where we come down to making things just in the little right circle and the little right shape. So that's where we come down. We kind of got the solar system finished. There might be some other steps to take when we get a little further on with this. So I'll be happy to kind of show all those other steps as they come. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to this channel. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.